Chosen one, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what you are experiencing right now may not be the end of your story. You may look around your life and see delays, closed doors, unanswered prayers, people walking away, plans falling apart, and opportunities that seemed so close suddenly disappearing. You may be wondering why everything feels so uncertain. You may even be asking God, how much longer do I have to wait? But what if the silence you are experiencing does not mean that nothing is happening? What if something is shifting behind the scenes that you simply cannot see yet? There are seasons in life when everything appears quiet on the outside, while something important is changing on the inside. You cannot always see preparation while it is happening. You cannot always recognize progress when it does not come in the form you expected. Sometimes you are looking for a visible answer, but the real work is happening in places you cannot reach, control, or understand. This is why you cannot give up, simply because you do not see immediate results. You have to understand something about waiting. Waiting can make you question everything. When you pray and nothing seems to change, your mind begins to create explanations. You start wondering whether your prayer was heard. You start comparing your life with other people. You see someone else receiving the opportunity you wanted, entering the relationship you prayed for, achieving the success you have been working toward, and suddenly, you begin to believe that you have been forgotten. But comparison can make you blind to your own journey. You do not know what is happening behind another person's closed doors, just as they do not know what is happening behind yours. Your journey was never supposed to look exactly like someone else's. There are things being developed in you that cannot be rushed. There are lessons that require time. There are doors that may look good from a distance, but may not be right for you. There are people you may desperately want to keep in your life who may not belong in the next chapter of your journey. And sometimes, what feels like rejection is simply redirection. That does not mean every painful event is automatically a sign from God, and it does not mean you should ignore practical problems or stop making wise decisions. It means that when life becomes confusing, you do not have to assume that confusion is the final answer. You can pause, you can pray, you can seek wisdom, you can continue moving forward without having every detail explained to you. Chosen one, perhaps the reason you feel uncomfortable right now is because you are being pushed beyond what used to feel familiar. Think about how often growth feels uncomfortable before it becomes meaningful. A person can spend years living according to the expectations of others, only to realize one day that they have been carrying an identity that was never truly theirs. They may lose friendships because their priorities change. They may stop chasing approval. They may become more disciplined. They may finally learn to say no. They may stop returning to situations that repeatedly wounded them. From the outside, it can look like their world is getting smaller. But internally, they are becoming stronger. Maybe that is where you are right now. Maybe the reason certain things are falling away is not because your life has no direction, but because you are beginning to recognize what no longer belongs in your future. Maybe the silence is giving you space to hear what constant noise prevented you from hearing. Maybe the delay is forcing you to develop patience. Maybe the disappointment is teaching you not to place your entire identity in one person, one opportunity, one relationship, or one outcome. And maybe you have been so focused on what has not happened that you have failed to notice how much you have already changed. Think about the version of yourself from a few years ago. Would that person have survived everything you have survived? Would they have handled the same disappointments with the wisdom you have today? Would they have recognized the same red flags? Would they have protected their peace? Would they have understood that not every closed door deserves to be forced open? You may still have weaknesses. You may still have questions. You may still have moments when you feel tired. But growth does not require perfection. Sometimes growth simply means that you no longer respond to the same pain in the same way. And this is where you need to pay attention. Something can be shifting without becoming visible immediately. A seed does not look like a tree while it is underground. For a long time, nothing appears to be happening above the surface. Yet beneath the soil, roots are developing. The seed is changing before anyone can see the result. The lesson is not that every hidden season guarantees a specific reward. The lesson is that visible progress is not the only form of progress. Your life may be developing in ways that are not measurable yet. Your character may be getting stronger. Your priorities may be becoming clearer. Your discernment may be improving. Your relationship with God may be becoming deeper. Your ability to walk away from what harms you may be increasing. Your courage may be growing quietly. And one day, you may look back and realize that the season you wanted to escape was also the season that prepared you to handle what came afterward. So do not allow today's uncertainty to convince you that tomorrow has no possibility. You do not need to know every detail right now. You do not need to know exactly who will stay. You do not need to know exactly when the door will open. You do not need to understand why every disappointment happened. What you need is enough strength to take the next wise step. Pray when you are confused, rest when you are exhausted, learn when you are being corrected, apologize when you are wrong, set boundaries when necessary. Keep working toward what matters. And above everything, do not allow temporary circumstances to convince you that your entire life is permanently stuck. Chosen one, there is a difference between being delayed and being defeated. There is a difference between being in a difficult chapter and having a hopeless story. There is a difference between not seeing the answer and having no answer at all. Right now, you may be standing in the space between what you hoped would happen and what has actually happened. That space can be painful, but it can also become a place of transformation if you refuse to let disappointment control your heart. So before you walk away from your faith, before you give up on yourself, before you make a decision out of anger, take a breath. You may not see the whole picture. You may not understand the timing. You may not know what is happening behind the scenes. But you can still choose patience over panic. You can choose wisdom over impulsiveness. You can choose forgiveness over bitterness. You can choose faith over constant fear. And you can keep moving. Because sometimes the greatest evidence of change is not what has appeared in your life yet, but who you are becoming while you wait. Something may be shifting. Maybe not in the dramatic way you imagined. Maybe not on the schedule you demanded. But your story is still being written. And this is not the moment to give up. Chosen one, if you are hearing this message at a moment when you feel tired, disappointed, confused, or tempted to walk away, then listen carefully. The most important thing right now may not be what happens around you, but what happens inside you. You cannot always control the timing of an answer, the behavior of another person, the opening of a door, or the circumstances surrounding your life. But you can choose how you respond. And sometimes the greatest test is not whether you can survive a difficult season, but whether you can survive it without allowing it to destroy your heart. You have been through moments that changed you. There were things you never expected to experience. People you trusted may have disappointed you. Plans you were excited about may have fallen apart. Prayers you believed would be answered quickly may still seem unanswered. You may have asked God for direction, and received silence instead of clarity. You may have wondered why you were trying so hard while nothing seemed to move. And after enough disappointment, something dangerous can happen. You can become tired of hoping. You can start expecting the worst, because expecting something good feels too painful. You can become emotionally numb. You can stop praying because you are afraid of being disappointed again. You can start telling yourself that nothing will ever change. And slowly, without even realizing it, temporary pain begins to shape your entire view of the future. This is where you must be careful. Do not let one painful chapter convince you that the whole story is finished. Do not let one person's betrayal teach you that everyone is against you. Do not let one closed door convince you that every door will remain closed. Do not let one delay convince you that your life has no purpose. And most importantly, do not allow what happened to you to turn you into someone you were never meant to become, because pain can influence your character if you let it. You can become bitter, or you can become wiser. You can become obsessed with revenge, or you can choose peace. You can spend your energy proving people wrong, or you can spend that energy building yourself. You can remain trapped in what happened, or you can learn from it and continue forward. This does not mean pretending that you were never hurt. Faith does not require you to deny your emotions. You are allowed to grieve. You are allowed to admit that something broke your heart. You are allowed to say, "That experience changed me." You are allowed to step away from people who repeatedly harm you. Forgiveness does not mean allowing someone unlimited access to you. But there comes a moment when you have to stop allowing yesterday to control tomorrow. Maybe that moment is today. Maybe you have spent enough time asking why they did what they did. Maybe you have spent enough nights replaying conversations in your mind. Maybe you have spent enough energy wondering what you could have done differently. Maybe you have been waiting for someone to apologize, explain themselves, or finally recognize your worth. But what if your healing cannot depend on someone else's realization? What if you can move forward without receiving the apology you wanted? What if you can choose peace even when you never receive an explanation? That is strength, not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped allowing someone else's actions to determine the direction of your life. Chosen one, do not give up now. Not because you are guaranteed that everything will suddenly become perfect tomorrow, but because quitting from a place of exhaustion can cause you to make decisions that your future self may regret. Never make permanent decisions based only on temporary emotions. If you are angry, pause. If you are overwhelmed, breathe. If you are confused, seek wisdom. If you are hurting, give yourself time to heal. If you have made mistakes, learn from them, instead of using them as evidence that you are hopeless. And if your faith feels weak, be honest about it. You do not have to pretend to be strong every second. You can bring your questions to God. You can pray through uncertainty. You can admit that you do not understand the timing. Faith is not always feeling confident. Sometimes faith is simply choosing not to walk away when you do not have all the answers. There may be a reason this season is teaching you patience. There may be a reason you are learning to stand without constant validation. There may be a reason you are discovering that your worth cannot be based on whether someone chooses you. You cannot build your identity around being accepted by people. People change, circumstances change, opportunities change, relationships change, but the values you build inside yourself can remain. So protect your heart. Do not become cruel because someone was cruel to you. Do not become dishonest because someone lied to you. Do not become selfish because someone took advantage of your kindness. Do not abandon your principles because someone else abandoned theirs. Your response matters. The world may never see the private battles you fought. People may only notice the result later. They may see your confidence without knowing how much fear you had to overcome. They may see your peace without knowing how much chaos you survived. They may see you standing without knowing how many times you almost fell. But you will know, and God knows. Every quiet decision to keep going matters. Every time you choose patience instead of anger, it matters. Every time you refuse revenge, it matters. Every time you continue doing what is right when nobody is watching, it matters. Every time you choose to heal instead of becoming bitter, you are changing the direction of your life. So maybe the real question is not, when will everything change? Maybe the deeper question is, who am I becoming while I wait? Because when circumstances eventually change, you will still have to live with the person you became during the waiting. That is why this season matters. Do not rush through it so desperately that you miss what it is teaching you. Do not become so obsessed with the next chapter that you neglect the lessons of the current one. And do not assume that because you cannot see the outcome, there is no purpose in continuing. Keep taking the next step. Keep working. Keep learning. Keep praying. Keep making wise decisions. Keep your heart soft without becoming naive. Keep your boundaries without becoming hateful. Keep your faith without pretending that you have no questions. And when you fall, get back up. You do not have to run. You just have to keep moving. There will be days when you feel strong and days when you feel exhausted. There will be mornings when you wake up with hope and nights when doubt returns. That does not mean you have failed. It means you are human. Do not measure your entire journey by one bad day. Do not measure God's faithfulness by one unanswered prayer. Do not measure your future by your current circumstances. What you see today is only one moment. The story is bigger than this moment. Chosen one, something may be shifting behind the scenes. But even if you cannot see the change yet, your responsibility remains the same. Do not surrender your peace, your character, your wisdom, or your faith to fear. You have already survived things you once thought would destroy you. You are still here. You are still learning. You are still growing, and that means this chapter has not finished writing you. So when the temptation comes to quit, remember why you started. When disappointment tells you to become bitter, choose healing. When fear tells you that nothing will ever change, take the next step anyway. You do not need to see the entire road to move forward. Sometimes you only need enough light for the next step. And perhaps that is all you are being asked to do right now. Take the next step, then another, and another. Trust God with what you cannot control, while faithfully doing what you can. One day, you may look back at this season and realize that the thing you thought was breaking you was also teaching you how to stand. So do not give up now. Not today. Not because everything is guaranteed to happen exactly as you imagined, but because your future deserves the chance to be discovered. Keep your heart steady. Keep your hands working. Keep your mind clear. Keep seeking wisdom. And keep walking, because the chapter you are in right now is not the final definition of who you are. Something is still unfolding, and your story is not over.